I
We're
think
still
Will.
waiting on Josh, right?
I nominate Will.
I'll call the roll. You do
Thank
something.
you, Will.
All right.
Still no Mr. Is Josh there? Or?
No, I expect him, no. He said 10 minutes late, so he's 5 minutes so far.
He was leaving Manchester.
So Maureen, what are you doing in Zambia?
I'm with a friend traveling and visiting her son and his family who work, her son works for the State Department here.
I'm banging some kind
discussions and was aware of what was going on with the budget already. So I think she's well prepared. I think she's really interested. She's interested in continuing in the position. And again, I just thought that she made a great effort as a write-in candidate, and I think she'd bring that same energy to the board.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Zach is raising his hand.
So in regard to Mr. Von Hassel, I think it's fitting that we give him an opportunity to finish out the seat that he was elected for. Granted, there were some very unforeseen circumstances last year that affected his ability to continue at that point, but I think we should allow him to come back and finish what the town elected him to do for that term.
Well,
I echo much of what Andrea is saying. I think that Leo is the only one to run for the office, actually, of the three, of course, this time. And she did campaign for it, she has a heart for it, and she did receive the most number of votes. If the person who ran against her had not won that position, then she would have been the one chosen by the voters. So I suppose with the confidence of the voters, having so many write in her name with that kind of confidence gives me a lot of sway toward the fact that the voters would like to see her take that seat.
okay. Anyone else? Any hands up there, Will?
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin Burgle.
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
Kevin, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I guess I echo that sort of theme. So the seat was, there was an election to fill the seat. Somebody won the seat. They've since resigned for their own reasons, and so the seat is vacant again. I myself would prefer probably some fresh blood on the MVC, and for that reason, I think I would also support Ms. McHugh.
Anyone else?
I see none.
Okay, so I guess the way to do this, we'll just go in the order they were nominated, and we'll call the roll for each candidate. Wait a minute, just a second. Maureen, did you want to add anything over there from Zimbabwe, or excuse me, Zambia?
No, just that, while I agree, that it could be good to have some new insight and perspective on the NBC. I really think that Robert Prieto would do a great job, and he would also bring that fresh perspective. So I think there's two potential people who could bring that fresh blood. So I would support Robert.
Okay. All right, so everyone having had a chance to speak who wanted to, at this time we'll call the roll in the order that they were nominated, and then you're going to have to keep a tally of each one, Will.
Okay,
And then once we get through with all three, we'll see where we're at.
okay.
I'm trying to think. I guess there's no rule against voting for more than one candidate, so.
Well,
No, there should only be a total of 10 votes.
Yeah.
Yes votes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so typically the vote is taken in the order of the nomination, and the first person to get a majority, I think, would be declared the winner. Because otherwise, if you had two people that got voted a majority, it just doesn't make sense. So I think the first candidate that achieves a majority would win. The only thing I can imagine is that nobody gets a majority because there's three candidates, And at that point, it's a plurality race, and so whoever gets the most votes in a plurality election would be the winner.
Well, my understanding
Well, if
is
it's-
nominations
if
are
it's a tie,
plurality.
We could have an issue there as well. But you are correct, I believe, that we go, and if the first candidate gets a majority, that candidate then is the winner, because unless the other candidate could get more votes.
Which you can't.
No,
which you
I,
can't.
I
So-
think don't we
can
just
say
get one
something,
vote?
Zach. I hear you saying something.
We're gonna vote on one at a time.
No,
No.
no. I think each person gets one vote.
you would go down the roll and ask who you're voting
Right.
for. So
Right.
you would say, Terry, who are you voting for, and then tally them up at the bottom.
Right.
That would be because we've dealt with this in the past.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
We've never done it that way, in my experience. I'm not
Well,
opposed to it.
I don't think it
Just
matters
How did we
much.
fill the position last year?
You take
Yeah,
them in
I
order,
don't think
everybody
it's that-
votes.
The numbers are the numbers, right?
Right,
That's it.
right.
So, it comes out. So if we want to do it that way, that's fine. To me, it sounds like some kind of weird game of Twister, but let's go ahead and
Well,
play.
you're trying to get it in plurality, not majority.
Yeah.
It's if you have 3, 3, and 4, the person with 4 votes wins.
Will,
Yeah,
how did we fill the position last year?
we only had two candidates, so
Yeah.
it's just the majority.
So, but how was the voting actually done? Was it, you
took-
call their name and then yes or no, or did you just say who you were voting for?
Call the name and yes or no.
Okay, so
So-
shouldn't we do that same
Yeah.
process this time?
That's been the past practice. I've been
And-
on this for over 10 years. off
And if we
on.
go through each name and get yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, it'll be the same essential, when we get all done with that, you're gonna see.
But you should only have 10 yes votes.
Yeah.
In the end, you should only have 10 yes votes.
right, you should, you
Each
should
person
be
only
able
votes for
to.
one of the
10
candidates.
votes
Right.
total.
Right,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, so you end up with the same result,
Start
okay,
voting.
Okay.
okay.
All right, do you want me to call the roll?
Yeah, just call, well, no, you wouldn't call the roll, you'd say, oh, yeah, I guess you call the roll and we each have to say candidate name then, right? Is that how it would go?
Yes.
Or are you calling the name, the roll for candidate one?
Either way should end in the same result. So it's your pleasure, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, let's just say who you support and then
Okay.
that's fine then.
All right, Terry Roy,
Leah,
Maureen Mann,
Maureen Quinn.
Quinn.
oh, Quinn, okay.
Maureen Mann is no longer.
Yeah,
rest their soul, she's not here.
Maureen?
Maureen,
Robert Prieto.
okay. Bonnie,
Bill?
Jocelyn,
Bill.
Andy,
Leah,
Will, so I'm a Leah as well. Zach,
Bill.
Errol,
Bill.
Joshua,
Leah.
and Mr. Burville.
Earlier.
Okay, the voting is ended. What's the total?
So we have 5 votes for Leah McHugh, we have 4 votes for Bill Van Hassel, and we have 1 vote for Robert.
Therefore, by the plurality, Leah is the new member. And that is that.
All right,
So she is hereby seated and a member.
Well, she has to get sworn in by the town clerk first, technically.
right.
and don't the selectmen have to
Tell
do
her to go
something?
see the town clerk tomorrow.
Typically, once
So
they're
everybody
sworn,
have their
they can sign.
binders.
Yes,
Yes.
we've all received our packet. It's not a binder really, it's just a big packet of paper.
Will?
right?
Oh, they didn't give us a binder this
Can
year,
I,
okay.
can I say something real quick?
All right,
We have Josh raising his hand to make a comment.
go ahead, Josh.
I just wanted to go on record as saying thank you to all the candidates who stepped up to fill the position, and certainly encourage them to, if they still desire to run for a seat in March, to please do so.
There are going to be 4 seats.
I second that as well, and, thank you for calling me out on my lack of manners. I should have said that too. I'm a little bit out of sorts where I am. I especially want to thank Mr. Prieto, who's never been involved in this before, for stepping up, and I think he would make an excellent candidate in the future based on the knowledge I have of him. And I would also like to thank Bill for stepping forward again for probably a thousandth time, he stepped forward to help the town of Deerfield. And I expect to see him on the ballot coming up as well. So I think there were no losers here, and I think that we're going to do great work, and we look forward to seeing all those folks again. And so thank you, Josh, for bringing that up. So I've got a list from the town of the town folks when they're going to testify before us.
Right.
Everyone has their books. I'm going to email that list out. Oh, you got it there?
Yeah, we've all got a copy.
Okay, so you all know when they're gonna be there, so, if you can, take an advanced look at at that section of the budget before that night, so that we have any questions, we have them all ready to go, so we can get those books in and out.
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
how is
Yeah.
that everyone's got that? How, 'cause obviously I'm not there, I don't have that. Is that coming with the packet?
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
email it to you though, so you can look at it before you get home if you want.
It's a long list on a 8.5 by 11 sheet.
And how was that disseminated?
It was passed out tonight.
With, right, or by John?
It was just passed out tonight at the meeting.
Yeah. I got my copy from John when he asked me to approve the dates, but I didn't send it to anybody else. They just got it at the meeting. But I can send it to you if you like.
I would very much like.
That way
Yeah.
you don't have to wait till you get back.
Yeah, Maureen, we just got it 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I didn't send it to anybody else. Anyway, so just go over those. We have the schedule. We're ready to go. Does anyone wish to report on what they've learned from the school board meetings? I understand that Mr. Rhodes is gone, and I think, well, Maureen was gonna go when she's not in Africa, right? Didn't you say you were gonna go to some of the school board meetings? Or maybe I'm mistaken, maybe.
I don't recall saying that. I mean, I don't have any problem with going, but I hadn't committed to that.
Okay, well, I know Errol said he was going, because he goes anyway, he said. So, anything to report back, Errol?
I think I sent you a note on that. They discussed the budget, but didn't have a copy for the NBC representative. And they were just unprepared on that front, so.
Okay, and you did, I got your note, I just wanted you to report it on the record to
Yep.
everybody, what you learned, so that it wasn't just a note from me to you. So they had a budget, but they didn't have a copy for us. Zach, can you get us a copy of what?
Yeah, they'll be available for the NBC members at the next meeting. It was an oversight from the superintendent when she was printing them off.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, because
So,
everything I picked up from your,
So
share.
the last meeting, the only items we discussed at the last meeting were the building level budgets, which were kind of the first swing. It's a lot of the low hanging fruit in the budget. Staffing's not plugged in yet. Special ed's not plugged in yet. High school's not plugged in yet. Transportation was not plugged in yet because all of Amber's numbers aren't in yet. So it was very early in the process, but the upcoming meetings, the superintendent will have copies for the NBC members. If more than a couple are going to arrive, if they can just let us know in advance, that'd be great. I think she said she was
Yeah,
going
I
to
don't
print.
anticipate more than two going.
Okay.
Anyone.
I think we asked her to print off an extra 3 or 4, just so we had them.
Okay. Will, do you have anything to report from the select board's meeting?
I do.
And then what brought before us?
I do. So the selectmen finished the final remaining sections of the budget last night and approved them all, and approved the final total for the town budget, which you'll see on the very last page or two of this packet that you have. It's $4,950,000 roughly, and so moved already.
Yeah.
But what I do want to tell you is that there's something that did happen unusual this year in the Board of Selectmen review of the budget, which hasn't happened to my knowledge to the degree that it has happened in previous years, which is that the Board of Selectmen actually trimmed $627,000 from the originally proposed budget to them by the department heads. And
I'm
so,
sorry, I think my Zoom is broken. Did you say that you guys cut 600,000?
yeah, he's making a joke. So that's maybe Mr. Harrington, having a longer history, can say if we've ever deducted that much at the Board of Selectmen's level from an existing budget that was proposed.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to our knowledge, right? And I think it's actually a record by
Could you
far.
give us some insight into how you arrived at those cuts?
Yeah, so there was a couple of big items. We decided to take out the some extra money that was in for paving and to defer it to a warrant article. That was
Okay, so, yeah.
243,000 or somewhere in that magnitude. My memory is always a little screwy. And then we also had an actual large number in that we found that was really not supposed to be there, was kind of in error essentially, and we removed that. Those were the two biggest items. But then we did go through the budget fairly in detail compared to other years, and one of the selectmen in particular was quite picky about a lot of lines, and that that person and one of the others was quite eager to try to trim the budget number to traditional spending, or looking at the last 2 years of how much was actually spent, not just repeating another budget number that we never spent that much money on. So we kind of took that philosophy of looking at historical spend, and many times the selectmen agreed to lower the budget number to the historical spend in order to lower the bottom line. And in other times, the selectmen rejected the thought of doing that and wanted to maintain the budget at the budget number. But there was.
I think that this gentleman and scholar who thought of all these cuts is the one talking to me. Why do I think that?
So I'm here, of course, as you know, to represent the entire board, and I'll do that as my duty, and I will vote according to what I think the board would vote if they were all here voting with us. So
I appreciate it.
realize that the board then voted on the total budget of $4,950,000 roughly. The exact figure is
4964112.
4964112. We voted 3-2, so three of the selectmen voted for that and to approve that and send it on to NBC, and 2 of the selectmen voted not to approve that budget. And so there is a mixed feeling on the board this time. Unlike last time, last year we had quite a unanimous agreement to send that on to the NBC, but we do have a 3-2 vote this time. And so I will try to reflect in these meetings with you some of the feelings of both sides of that. When those items come up where there was disagreement, I've recorded the minutes of the meetings and the votes that were taken on each of these sections, so I can share that with you, what they voted on each of those sections, so that you can just be aware as you take it under advisement as you make your own decisions about how to vote on those things.
Thank you, especially, but I'd like to remind the members that, we're not just a cutting body, we can also add, and if there's something that was not properly funded, in our opinion, we have the ability to add it as well. So I would appreciate to hear both sides of the argument when we get to those issues. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Does anyone else have anything to add?
Kevin Burville is asking for the floor.
You may have it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I've actually been following along quite closely with the work of the Select Board, and I know for a fact that there were several, if not many, lines that did get increases in what was proposed. That what the Select Board did was not simply cut the budget. There were lines that seemed inappropriate low, and they increased those lines to what they believed was a more appropriate amount. So I think the approach that you're suggesting we take is the approach they took, and looking forward to getting the work done.
Zach is also raising his hand.
Susan Langlois.
It's actually a question for Mr. Harrington. Is it possible to put the original requests, a column with the original requests?
There's no more room on this.
There's nowhere else to,
No, there's-
okay.
You have that data though, right, Will?
I do.
So when we put on the line, we can see what the original ask was?
Yep. Well, I can certainly share with you what the original ask was, if that's of interest. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't know that.
Yeah, I would just like to be able to ask the department head when they come before us why they asked that amount and what they feel the cut will do to them and to their department. Is
Maybe,
that pretty much what you were interested in, Zach?
yeah, maybe there's another way to get there. Is it possible, John, just to get the department totals, requested department totals just on a separate sheet, so that when we're going through the department
Your
lines,
backup will have the original request.
it has the original request in the
Those
backup?
weren't changed,
Okay,
so that'll give you the information you're looking for.
okay.
And I have the working budget here with all the notes that I made during our meetings, so I can help share some of the.
Yeah, I'd just like to
discussion.
see where the changes, especially if they were, you know, of significance, where they occurred. I hate to have to ask for them as we're going through, but if that's how we have to get them, obviously, it's fine.
One more thing I think I should note is that there was a disagreement amongst some of the selectmen about what our purpose or what we were trying to accomplish with the budget function. One opinion was that we were trying to put in everything that it takes to run the town, and that we weren't trying to necessarily create a budget that would pass. That wasn't our responsibility. It was only to put in what the town needs to run. The other opinion was that indeed we are elected by the voters, and we should try to align the budget with what we believe the voters' budget alignment is, so that indeed when it does go to vote, it would pass. So there was quite a fundamental difference in opinion amongst the selectmen about what the procedure should be. One saying, just put in everything that's needed and let the voters, if they defeat it, that's their business. And the other was, we need to try to actually do something that will pass by aligning with the voters. Now, Mr. Verbal, I've sparked his interest, so recognize him.
Excellent. Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, I know sometimes people don't like it when I use the word right to know, right? But that is the formal way to request a lot of documents. And I've often encouraged people, especially members of the committee, to request the original draft budgets as received by both the select board and the school board, because that is what the department heads, the administration, whoever is crafting that before it actually gets to the governing body, so you can see what that is, right? Because if you have a copy of that, then you can see the changes as you go along very easy, because you have what we just received, but also an original copy. I have to admit, I believe I was delinquent in requesting that, so I don't think I have a copy of the original that was.
I believe you do, you picked it up the first night you were there.
Oh, so it's kicking around the house. So if you'd like, Zach, I can make a copy for you. I think I have the original budget, and then you could compare. But
The very
it's,
first meeting I brought copies of it.
yeah,
If you got one.
you're right. I didn't request it. You guys had them printed out, and thank you. I appreciate that. But that's one of the reasons. It would be a reason to request a school budget now, right? To see it as it was presented to the school board, because what we get will be something different than that, and then you can compare and contrast what the two different groups' priorities were and what their thinking is. And that's why I encourage people to request these documents, early, if not often, is just to have that running history to be able to make those assessments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And just to be clear, as the NBC, we can request documents. We don't have to go through the right to know thing. So if anybody wants documents, we should just bring it up, and then we can ask. And I'm sure they'll be provided without going through all that. And one more thing I want to bring up before we end. We have these now. Talk to your constituents. We represent the voters, and just like the select board does. And let's see if we can get some input and kind of get the feel of what they'd like before we start our actual deliberations.
Mr. Langlos is raising his hand.
Yeah. And
Yes.
one other note, we do always post, on the school side at least, a copy of whatever the working budget is as we progress through them. So every time we discuss it, the following day it gets posted. So if anybody's interested in seeing it as it's being built up, because obviously we start with a zero-based budget. So as we're building it up throughout the next couple of weeks, and the lines being populated, you can see it increase drastically.
Excellent. That's right on the school's, the
SAU
website.
53 website for the SAU.
Then, you can share
Now, one more thing.
share a link.
I can?
Yeah,
I can ask someone to find the link and share it.
Yeah, but-
I'm not your tech guy.
why not, but you can email it around.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. All right, anything else?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Well, first,
Oh.
this is the show and tell portion. I don't know if Maureen can do it, but I'm gonna show you the views of Rocky Mountains outside my hotel window.
Oh, now you're just showing off.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Where are you in Colorado?
It's your turn. Can you
He
show
said
us something?
Denver.
Oh my
Is there
goodness.
like an elevator or
In
something?
Denver.
Terry, where are you?
Color.
I mean, it's dark.
Colorado's
It's night.
Oh,
Oh,
Colorado.
so they're right up
They'll be
next
in
to you.
Boulder next week.
Yeah.
That's not quite
They're gonna have
Denver.
snow next week.
No, I've been to Colorado a few
Oh,
times.
great.
All right, we have a motion to
Denver's
adjourn
on
and a second.
Tundra.
Yeah, okay.
Roll call.
I will see you all at the next meeting. Will, if you could go on to a copy of the budget.
No, it's-
I don't think so,
Maureen,
please.
No, you're right.
I am.
Do we need a roll call?
Hold on. There's a question from Miss Messier, and she wants to know if we're meeting next week, and I'm going to guess, because I don't have my calendar, I'm gonna guess our next meeting is the 7th of November.
Nice.
Because
Yes,
that's,
We were scheduled for next week, though.
Yeah.
Actually, I
Correct.
don't have us on the schedule for next week.
We have the schedule here.
And
Yeah.
the
because
next,
it
the
would be
next
Halloween,
meeting-
we don't
right.
meet on
Right.
holidays.
Yeah.
But I think originally
Okay.
they had said that we would be meeting. Okay,
But we're not.
that's fine.
John has a
That
comment.
original budget is actually posted on the web, on the
Thank
town
you.
website.
I'll go find it.
You don't have
Okay,
to send
so
it,
no
which is
meeting
good.
next
Great,
week.
thank you.
Cool.
Right.
So we have a
Yeah,
whole
next
2
meeting
weeks
is
to.
So we're not
offer
meeting
this.
next week.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
What's on the calendar? Is it on the
Should
calendar?
like do this over whiskey and stuff.
I don't know about the calendar, I just have the,
Yeah, this is,
schedule.
this is that original calendar of our meetings, right?
I thought last
How much
week, though,
for whiskey
we had
guy?
And that says November
we had
7th.
discussed
There was
that the
confusion.
budget might not be ready for tonight, so we had put it in for next week.
Coming down.
Yeah.
This is a done
An
letter.
email after Maureen, I'll send you the email
Okay.
I got.
I think it was expensive.
With the list of the dates when everyone will be before us, okay?
Yeah, it's probably gonna get lost on me.
It's
Have safe
Be
travels.
ready.
It's actually
Everyone else,
it's a nice one. It's not
your
super.
weekend, and I'll see you all on the 7th.
Did we take a vote on the adjournment?
Everybody.
Everybody in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Good enough.
Yes,
Yeah,
say yes.
it's a vote. It's a
Every
vote.
vote.
oh, okay.
Technically, it should, that's correct.
All right, technically, we have to take a roll call vote to adjourn.
Okay, well, I
So
say yes.
Terry, yes, Maureen,
Yeah.
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Jocelyn,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Will, yes, Zach.
Oh, geez, I wanna stay here all night. No, that's a no from me.
All right, so no. Errol,
Yeah.
Josh,
Yes.
and,
Only a couple can play the game, and since there's only one other, I'll say no too.
all right.
We agreed on something.